Hello, guys. How are you doing? Right to our story today. It's very interesting story, and it happened in 1990 between Kuwait and Iraq. At that year, you remember, if you remember, some of you remember, old enough to remember that that's when the invasion of Saddam Hussein to the country of Kuwait happened. It was out of the blue. There was no signs. He just attacked his neighbor. There's of course political implications that never been published before, but now everybody know it. It was a conspiracy, whatever, none of our business. But during that time, a lot of people got killed, a lot of people got imprisoned, a lot of torture happened in Abo Ghareeb, if you remember that famous prison called Abo Ghareeb. So our protagonist for the story is two persons, a half Iraqi, half Kuwaiti guy named Khaled, and an Iraqi girl named Sarah. Khaled is used to go like some months of the year to visit his family in Iraq, his uncles from his mom's side, because his mom was Iraqi and his dad was from Kuwait, which is a common thing. A lot of Gulf area, that Arabic Gulf area, guys marry Iraqi girls or Lebanese girls, so it's common in that area. He has some lands there, he to take care of them, he bought some properties, so he's comfortable financially. And he's married, of course, and has one boy, and his wife was pregnant at that time with a girl. When the invasion happened, unfortunately, this unlucky guy, Khaled, was, in Arabic we call him Khaled, but I'll pronounce the names in English way. Khaled was in Iraq visiting his family when the invasion happened, so all borders got shut down. There is no way for him to leave or go anywhere. It was very stressful for him, of course. He's worried about his pregnant wife. He misses his parents, but for his own safety, listening to his family advice, they told him stay here until it calms down. Things calm down. He waited a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. He got really irritated. He said, I have to leave. And if you remember, the Iraq-Kuwait war lasted probably not that long, maybe 5 months. I think 5 months, yeah. Between 5 and 7 months until everything got completely done. But of course, after the war, there is like a cleaning up and chaos is still a little bit there. So during those months, he had to leave. He was determined to leave despite everybody's advice. He said, I'm going to be careful. Somebody told him how to sneak in through the borders, through the Saudi borders or the Kuwaiti borders. Anyway, go through the farms or go in the middle of the night or bribe this, talk to that. Unfortunately, against everybody's advice, he tried to escape and he got captured. He got captured by the Iraqi military. If you got captured and you are Kuwaiti, it's a death sentence, assassination. They caught him. They told him, what are you doing here? He said, I'm half Iraqi. I have family here and the invasion happened and I couldn't leave. And they didn't believe him at all. They thought he's a spy. That's the accusation. And based on that accusation, he went for 1 day at the Iraqi court. They sentenced him to death. They will assassinate him in the prison and he has to stay in the prison until his sentence is done. Khalid, of course, lost his mind. His family was so worried. They never heard about him at all. There is no way to communicate back then, so they assumed he got captured. Like, he can't call on the phone. There was no phones, I think, back then, and like they wouldn't allow him to send letters. So he stayed in the prison and just surrendered to his fate and was crying here and there and begging the guards to let him talk to his family, but they wouldn't listen to him. It was really tough times in his life. While waiting in the prison, he refused his reality. He said there has to be a way. This is not the end. And then he thought about calling the head of all the system, like probably a lieutenant or some high-ranking Iraqi soldier. He told him who's responsible for this prison. And one of the guards told him, dropped a name at him, and he told him, can I meet him? He said, I don't think you can meet him. He's really high-ranking, and he barely come here probably once a month to just check on the place. He told him, can I write you a letter and just give it to him? Because I really want to talk to him, and I have an offer for him. So Khalid's idea was that he is going to offer some of his lands to this high-ranking officer in the Iraqi army, or whoever is responsible about the prison. In a return, he was going to ask him to let him go, or at least instead of the death sentence, they would give him keep him in prison forever. I forgot what is the English word for it. Life sentence, yes. Either he let him go, and if he cannot let him go in a return for all the lands he's gonna give him, he at least would give him a life sentence. The letter reached to that got delivered to the high-ranking officer. His name is Ali. This guy ended up to be in al-Ba'ath regime. You know al-Ba'ath regime? They are like top of the top. Nobody can touch them. And he was really high-ranking there. So whatever he wants can be done. When he read the letter that Khaled wrote for him, the proposal was that he's going to give him 3 lands that he owned in Iraq, in a return that he will give him a life sentence or let him go. This officer Ali thought, well, I can't do anything. This is Saddam Hussein orders. Everybody, all Kuwaitis has to be killed. I can't do anything. But since he's going to be killed anyway, I'm going to just take his lands. So let's see what this guy has. He went to visit him in the prison to see who's this guy. And as soon as he saw him, he was so skinny. He lost so much weight. He was miserable, crying over his family. He was really ready to do anything to leave the prison. After that, he sat down with him and told him where these lands are and that he can talk to his uncles and strike the deal for him. But he has to go and talk to them and sign the papers. You cannot just do that like in the court. You have to sign the papers by yourself. It was very complicated. So the officer told him, this is what's going to happen. If you really have those lands, I'm gonna sneak you out in a soldier outfit, and you have to pretend that you are mute. You never talk to anybody. You never respond to anybody. You don't look to anybody, into anybody's eyes when we walk. Just look at where your steps are and just keep walking, following me, walking straight and following me. The guy agreed. Khalid agreed immediately, and he told him, of course, I'm gonna go with you, and whatever you want me to do, I'll do. Khalid thought that the guy, Ali, the officer, is gonna release him or hide him or do something. He didn't know that his intentions are to return him back to the prison and get rid of him, and he will never fulfill his promise. The plan happened. Officer Ali took Khalid to his house to hide him, and when they left in the car, when they approached Ali's house, Khalid was amazed how incredible the house is. It was a massive mansion. To get to that mansion, they had to drive through a massive farm, trees and fruits everywhere, horses and monkeys, and he had a lot of farm keepers and housekeepers and servants and a driver and a door guard. Definitely he was living the best time of his life as a al-Ba'ath regime leader, one of the al-Ba'ath regime leader. They are untouchable people, very powerful in Iraq. They work directly with Saddam Hussein. They support him and everybody knows that they are actually everybody is afraid of them because they are known of their vicious plans and treatments and actions to people and with people. Long story short, the officer trusted his daughter and wife. He has only one daughter and a wife in that massive house, and he was really afraid that he will get caught, but he trusted his wife and his daughter and the doorman. They would do anything he wants. So he told him the story, and that he has to host the soldier for a couple days until his next shift come in, then he will return him to prison. And they told him, keep him in this room. They tied his hands to his back, and they served him food for 3-4 days. The whole time he was tied up, even the way he was drinking water, the way he was drinking water was with his hand tied up to his back, and he was drinking it like a bird in a way that he wouldn't suffocate himself. During all these 3 days, I think they got him in on Sunday, and this Officer Ali shift is on Thursday or Friday. During all these 3 days, Khaled, of course, was crying. He was depressed and really sad. And so, as evil as we think people are, some of them has a soft heart and they are still a human at their core. So what happened during these days, Sarah, the daughter of the Officer Ali, came and struck a conversation with this sad crying soldier. She asked him, hey, what's going on? Why are you here? Why are you crying all the time? He begged her. He said, please, I didn't do anything. They're gonna assassinate me and they are accusing me of being a spy, and I'm none of those. I'm just a regular person who came to visit my family when the invasion of Kuwait happened and the borders got shut down and I cannot go back. I have a little son and my wife is pregnant and I really need to go back. And then she asked him, why are you here in our house and talking to my dad? He told her, well, I promised your dad to give him the lands that I own here in Al-Basra city. It's a city in Iraq called Al-Basra. And in a return, he promised me to give me a life sentence. At least I won't be killed, or release me. And then she went to her dad and spoke to him about this guy, poor guy. And she told him, Dad, what's going on with this guy? Why he's in our house? And her dad said, well, he's a Kuwaiti citizen who got captured by the Iraqi army and they sentenced him to death. He's a spy. I can't do anything. It's Saddam orders and this is his destiny. And his daughter said, what? He told me a different story. He told me he promised you to give you lands and some of his properties. In a return, you are going to release him or give him the life sentence instead of death sentence. Her dad said, impossible. I said that Saddam orders and I cannot do anything. What can I do? What am I going to do? I'm going to be in very big trouble. You can't do this. And he started yelling at her. Of course, these men, their daughters are usually leaders with a very strong personality. So she started to threaten her dad. She got really mad. And she wouldn't accept her dad's decisions or actions at all to betray this poor man. Of course, she's a female and probably she had a soft heart for his kids or for him and his pregnant wife. And he was young. Khalid back then was probably 40 years old, 41. So she started threatening her dad. And you know, females, when they are mad, they do crazy stuff. So she promised him that she's going to report him. And of course, he's not going to hurt his daughter. So I told her, okay, what do you want me to do? What solutions? How can I help him to get out of this trouble? She said, leave it for me. I'm going to think of something and then we will do it together. But nobody's going to get killed and we will never betray him. And he will go back to his family and his kids. What he has been through is enough. Because usually when the Iraqi government captured anybody, they send them to Abu Ghareeb prison. That prison has a very bad reputation, and I'm sure if you googled it, you can hear the horror stories and the torture that happened there, and thousands of people died, of course. So she will never allow him to go back to that prison, because everybody knows that only bodies come out of that prison. Nobody alive came out of it. So next day she told her dad, I think I know what to do. Of course, we have bodies everywhere. Probably you can get a body from a hospital, somebody who died of natural causes. You can go to his cell, pay the guards, do whatever, just put that body there and claim that this prisoner, Khaled, died of natural reasons, and just they would bury him, and the whole story will end, and nobody will look for him because nobody cared about him. Believe it or not, her dad, and she was really smart. You will know during the whole story. She was really a smart girl, so her dad loved the idea. He's not going to be in trouble, and he will still get the lands, and the guy will get free and will go back to his country. So he did the whole plan as it is, and it succeeded. They put a body there, somebody who died of natural reasons. The whole case got closed and shut down, and the body got buried, and everybody was happy. So now they have Khaled in the house. What they are going to do with him? Now, Sarah told her dad, somebody has to do this, not us. We have our doorman. We trust him. He grew up with us. He will do it. And I'm going to issue him a no interference card, which is a permit if a soldier or somebody important carry it, they can cross the borders without being asked about their names, because it's a very specific permit. So she issued one like that for him and for the driver, and that was the plan with her and her dad, and they were gonna do it next day. Release, clean up Khaled, break his the tie they had put in his hands, and then get him ready to leave with the driver and get done with this story. Next day she showed up to the room and told him, hey, I want you to come outside. I want to talk to you in the living room. During that time, already 4 days passed. Khaled doesn't know about this good plan and start to doubt these two people, strangers, why they are tying his hands to his back for 3 days. He can't even sleep well. He lost his mind. He lost his patience. So he decided to keep the girl as a hostage and then threaten her dad to give him what he wants or he will hurt the girl. As soon as the girl opened the door and took him to sit on the living room, she wanted to give him some food or I think a knife or something to cut off the ropes from his hands. During that time, he was looking for anything to defend himself or attack the girl with. So he saw a vase. I think it was a vase in the corner of the house. And because his hands were tied behind his back, he dropped it somehow, and instead of when he was trying to carry it around or hide it behind him to probably smash her head with it or let her knock her out. It fell somehow and broke, and it cut his hand really deep, so he was bleeding everywhere. Sarah came running because she heard the noise, and she was shocked. Oh my God, what happened? How did you cut yourself? And she was feeling really sorry for him. And she started crying, hey, what happened to you? We don't want you to go to your family like this. And she didn't know how to stop the bleeding, and he was confused. Why is she helping him when he was trying to smash her head with the vase? So she told him no. She thought actually that he's gonna commit suicide, that he's desperate, out of desperation and fear, that he was committing suicide, cutting off his wrist, the veins in his wrist. She started crying, hey, we're gonna help you. Me and my dad, we were planning to have you get escorted to the borders today. Why did you do that? So she started wrapping his hand and helping him, and it ended up not very bad cut, but he was bleeding really bad. So everybody freaked out. During that time, actually, Khalid started feeling sorry that he was planning to hurt the girl when she had really good intentions toward him. So he asked her, "Oh, really? Are you gonna release me today?" She said, "Yeah, somebody's gonna escort you through the borders, and I'm gonna give you a permit, and you can go. You can go whenever you want." Of course, the lands and the properties already in Sarah's name, and Sarah doesn't know that because her dad, when Khalid came to the house and spoke to his uncles on the phone and gave him the power of attorney to sign on his behalf, or I think they let him go. I don't remember what was in the report. I think he went in person. That's why they had to get him out of the prison. He met his uncles during those 4 days. His uncles are older. They're like his mom age, and they have kids, grown-up kids. So they transferred the lands and the property into the officer Ali's daughter name, not to the officer Ali's name. They all were under Sarah's name, but she didn't know that back then, at those 4 days. Anyway, so everything was done, and they got the land. Now he's gonna be escorted to the borders, and she told him, "You're gonna leave tomorrow early in the morning before the sun comes up, and the door the door guard is gonna take you there. But once he send you there, when he release you through the borders and you know you are safe, I'm gonna teach you a poem, one-line poem, which is a password. This is the password. So if the doorman didn't deliver you safely, or if he played a foul play or did something to you, and if he came back confirming that you got released in the borders, I will know he is lying if he didn't give me that poem." So that's our key word between me and you, that you made it safe and that you are back to your kids and your wife. Khalid started crying. He had so much gratitude in his heart for her and for her dad that helping. He didn't know about the story that her dad was actually had a foul play against him. Anyway, the morning couldn't come earlier for Khalid. He doesn't have anything to pack. They give him just breakfast or some food in a bag, and they let him go with the doorman, with the door guard. And before the door guard leaves, she told him, "We know your kids, we know your wife, we know where you live, we know your family. If this man didn't make it safe and sound to his family, your whole family will suffer the consequences, not just you." So they threaten him so he doesn't play any foul play or listen to anybody, or when he makes sure that Khalid makes it to the borders safe. Everything went well, and he got dropped by the border. Nobody questioned him. Nobody asked him anything because of the past he had. And before he leaves through the borders, of course, he gave... I know you all thought that he forgot to give the password or the poem to the door guard guy, but he did. And the door guard, of course, went back to Sarah, and he gave her the poem or the password, and she knew that this guy is safe, and he made it to his family, and they never seen each other again. During that time, things, of course, started to get worse and worse for everybody in the Al-Ba'ath regime, because Kuwait was liberated 2 months after Khalid was delivered to his family. So of course she had to escape, her and her father, because they chased her dad. Everybody got killed and assassinated because they were in Saddam's side. The people were, and the American, of course, American troops and all these United Nations troops. I don't know if they call them United Nations or something else, but anyway, these countries are gathered. A lot of countries gathered and helped to liberate Kuwait. So they were chasing the Al-Ba'ath members all over Iraq. Even the public, the people were so mad because they tortured them, they treated them really bad, even before the invasion of Kuwait. So Sarah's house was invaded, her dad got shot in his back, her mom was assassinated, she got imprisoned. Their glory days went away. Everything got confiscated, and she moved back. She moved with her dad to a smaller house that they rented because her dad got taken to a hospital. He didn't die from the shot, but he ended up to be paralyzed because the shot came to his back or a spinal cord. Anyway, she stayed like this couple years, and until the whole system collapsed, because it didn't collapse within a day or two. It took months and probably a couple years of chaos. During that time, Sarah met a nice guy, and she got married and had a little boy. She was really concerned about him, so she took him to her aunt who lives in Abu Dhabi in the UAE, United Emirates, because she had uh, a job contract and she was well off, and he would grow up with her kids, and she had a nice husband. I think 12 years has passed. Yeah, I think 12 years has passed already. And Sarah back then, Khalid was, as I said, at 40, 41 years old. She was 20 or 19 actually. She was 19, between 19 and 20 years old. She was very young. And 12 years passed. Her husband got shot and passed away. And unfortunately, that son that she had him just a couple months before her husband died. During all these 12 years, she didn't get pregnant, unfortunately. Um, During that time, back to Khalid, his life was different. He went back to his country. He was living full life. He got promoted in his job. His family celebrated him. His country celebrated him. He got compensated a lot of money by the government for the loss that he had and the bad time he had, of course. And Kuwait is a very wealthy country. They have a lot of oil, so their people are comfortable, lucky people, financially comfortable. His wife, of course, had the girl, and when he was in a prison, actually, when he was in a prison in Iraq, and she named her like a weird name. I don't know how to translate it, which means that her dad was captured. So probably if I translated it literally from Arabic to English, the girl name means captured. So when her dad came back, he said, no, we're going to change her name and we're going to call her Sarah. Out of gratitude, he named his own daughter after Sarah, the one who saved his life in Iraq. And 12 years passed, and he kept always thinking about this Sarah in Iraq, what happened to her, how is she doing. So he sent his uncles, now their kids are grown up, so he sent one of his uncle's kids to go and fetch for Sarah and see how she's doing. And unfortunately, he came back to Khalid telling him that her mom died, her father is paralyzed, their luxurious life is gone, and she's really miserable as a widow. Her son got given away to her aunt, and she's really miserable. So, to return the favor, Khalid told his uncle's son to take care of Sarah from in her entire life aspects, like get her a better place, pay for her food, for her father treatment, try to give her son some money or ask where he is and how he's doing. And his cousin, yeah, I think it's his cousin. We can call him in English cousin, but in English, I think the family, the names for the mom side and the father side, like the family members in different mom and dad sides, are the same. In all other languages, they are different. There is a specific name for your cousin from your mom's side or your cousin from your dad's side, and so on. So he's his cousin from his mom's side. The cousin knocked the door, said hello to Sarah, and told her, I'm a messenger. I'm gonna help you. This is some money to take care of yourself until I come back next time. She said, what? Who's sending me money? He told her, don't ask. Just take the money and take care of your self and your father. And he moved her actually to a better house. She lost her mind. She said, impossible, you have to tell me. He told her, I cannot now. Maybe in the future you will know, but for now I have been told not to tell anybody what's going on. I mean, names or anything. And yeah, he took care of everything for her. Spent money on her and gave her money to send to her son, and kept asking his cousin about to give him the latest news about her, if she needs anything or what's going on. So after 12 years, when her husband passed away, her son actually moved to Sweden. Not by himself. I mean, the whole family that was taking care of him moved to Sweden because her aunt passed away. And she didn't know that. All she knows is that her son is being moved to Sweden with the family, but they loved him and he's really taken care of and he's so happy. And she tried so hard to go to Sweden, but she doesn't have the money. So when Khalid's cousin visited her last time, she said, asking her, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do for you? Or do you need anything? She said, could you please take me to my son? He told, where is your son? And she said, he's in Sweden, but I don't have enough money and I don't know how to go there and to immigrate with him there. The cousin went back to Khalid and told him what's going on. And he told him, absolutely, this is the least I can do. Whatever she needs, whatever it takes, I'm taking care of it. We will take her to Sweden to meet her son, and we will try to immigrate her there. Back in the days, it wasn't easy like now, specifically that she is known. Her father is really famous and from the Al-Ba'ath regime, and nobody liked them, and they are always in a jeopardy that they might get assassinated or attacked by the public if they found out about them. She was hiding in the house all the time. She would go out just to get food or get like necessities, essential stuff. The whole project cost Khalid $40,000. No, 40,000 dinar. Back in the days, until today, I think, one dinar is $4. $3.50 to $4. It's a very expensive currency. The whole process from getting her escaped to bribing people to get her the immigration visa to get her to Sweden cost him $40,000. Believe it or not, the whole project succeeded. She met with her son, she immigrated to Sweden, and she lived happily for the rest of her life. Of course, the story didn't end up here. It's not going to be that easy. Now back to Khalid. During these 12 years, of course, his life went normal. His wife was controlling a little bit and crazy, but he lived a normal life with his family. And of course, with time, the story got leaked to Khalid's wife. Why is he traveling a lot? How did the news get leaked? Is it through women, of course, women gossip. His uncles told their wives, the wives told the kids told the other kids, and then the story spread everywhere. And somehow, Khalid's wife heard the story from the women gossip that he knows when he was that he's playing around with another woman called Sarah. She was an Iraqi girl, very young girl who he met during his imprisonment days in Iraq. They told her, if you don't believe that, go and check on his bank statements. And she was shocked and believed everything when she saw all these transactions. A lot of money was sent and spent on Sarah. And oh my God, every time I want to say Sarah, I say another name from the previous story. You can check it out. Story number 6, I think. Hair in the tube, yes. um, so she lost her mind. She lost her mind completely and decided to play a foul play on her husband in his behind his back with her kids. So she went to her kids, and by now, after 12 years, she had two boys and one girl. She went to her kids and she told them, "Hey, your dad knows another woman. He's planning to leave us and give her all the money. Look at these bank statements. He gave her all this money without asking us, without our permission. I don't trust him anymore. We have to go to the court and file a claim that we want to have all his money because he's incompatible, that he's crazy and he is abusive to us, and we should take all his money." There is a specific term for it, but I don't know it in English. Like when you have the court write all somebody's a family member assets in your name, claiming they are not there mentally, so they don't waste the money. Please write in the comments if you know what that specific sentence is. Anyway, or court order. She spoke like that with all her kids, and they all agreed and signed the papers, and she filed with the court, and I think the court sent them a mail, and he found out. Khalid one day opened the mail and found out about the whole plot, and he went talking to one of his kids. He told him, "Is this true?" And he confronted her wife. "What's going on?" She told him, "Well, you started it. You had been cheating on me with this Iraqi bitch and spent all our money on her. We don't trust you anymore. We want to take all this money so you don't send it to her." The husband immediately explained to his kids that this is not the case. This is a payback day, and no matter how much he pay her or help her, it's never gonna give her what she deserved, because she saved him from death and she jeopardized herself and her dad for him, and that he never seen her after he left Iraq, all these 12 years or 14 years, never seen her again. So his kids believed their dad, and the divorce happened. He could not see his wife ever again, after she played all this plot on him. So even the kids, when their mom left, they wouldn't leave with her. They stayed with their dad. Couple years passed, and Sarah is in Sweden living her life with her son. She never got married. Khalid thought about contacting her and visiting her and see how she is doing. One visit, two visits, three visits. She was young. By now she's probably 34 years old. Yeah, 34, 35. And Khalid probably in his 50s. And she was really young and beautiful, very beautiful girl, as the report says. With time, they fell in love and decided to get married. And Khalid kept coming back and forth between Sweden and Kuwait. And that's how this beautiful story ended. A happy ending for you guys, for once, instead of the murders. And that's the end of the story. Take care, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care.